Silence. No one's home at Fortress Accident. Silence. No one answers the doorbell. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you. Silence. No one answers your call. This button looks new, but someone has removed the name card. Nothing happens when you try to ring it.
This button looks new. It's probably not connected yet.
Every snowflake is like a little gift from the sky.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. Your money disappears into the coin slot, a clunk, the ring of metal. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry, different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab grey shape, like a ghost. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible, a half-sunken sea fort, its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it. Its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. The little brave birch tree seems to wave back in the wind.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my pigs? Come to take me out? Trying to snuff me out? Then why are you sneaking up on me like that? It's not a good idea to scare me, pig. Not a good idea at all.
It's been a week and now they show up?
There must be another way into the building.
Yeah, you better keep walking. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Hey, up here, pick up.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Peyton, my maiden name. glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
A billion?
Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild Pines for their paychecks. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving and growing, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later.
She's resolute in this, yet you sense that she wants to tell you. You'll have to earn her trust first.
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
She nods.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
If these workers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Easy. Just offer her a favor. Like I said, nice and dirty.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteers to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters. You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months. No, if there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching. I'm sure you will, Detective.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link. The lorries. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbor into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
You'll be indebted to her, in a way, but one step ahead of the Union in another.
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
It sounds like she tried looking into it herself, though she's clearly not the type your typical lorry man would confide in.
Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. Why, yes, tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible. Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes. A scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too. Shame? You haven't really been in the presence of gentlefolk either, have you? What shame is there to be felt in front of these dock workers, cops, and hotel clerks, but to belittle yourself in these eyes of Odinin? Oh God, the lieutenant is here too. Do not dishonor the force.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Of course, Detective. Take care.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance. The door rattles against your knuckles, but there's no response. The door rattles again, but this time you hear an elderly woman's voice calling out from inside.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am. Now go on, get out of here. Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting into the building. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door? There must be another entrance to the east.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply. Just faint, sweeping sounds inside.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. Had a battery of tests just last week. I'm practically a patchwork of interesting critters. Kinda like a man-o'-war.
She's grown frustrated with her work and welcomes the opportunity to challenge authority in other ways. The lieutenant is desperately searching for another handkerchief. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her. On a first-name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world. Pig's not half as dumb as he looks. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
I ain't no snitch, Pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important? All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. Help you? No, sorry, gendarme. I have to run. My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
Martin Martinez? Good local name. Let's go with that.
I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you? No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look,
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
Makes sense. Friends are nice on Sunday. You don't have to work. You can just spend time with pals, watching rugby and drinking beer. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the dull and darkening sky, the neighboring windows stand silent.
No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
Time to bring out your secret charm. Tears and begging. Show him your emotional side. Throw yourself before his very feet like a dog.
Trash?
Please don't go. I'll even stop smoking inside.
Listen, I really have to go. Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. There has to be a way of getting inside the building. Let's go check out the door near the pier again. Once we found a way in, we can ask around for his apartment. Must be another way into the building.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance. This could be a way into the apartment building the smoking man vanished into.
Good. We had enough problems with bums and drunks and thieves loitering in the hallway. You have no business here.
You're well versed in the kind of threatening legalese that implies criminal liability, but in fact has no meaning whatsoever.
I know my rights, and don't you marm me, boy.
Miss, would it help if we offer to show you our badges?
Hold your horses. I don't care about your stinking badge. Just come in.